Captain had seen many strange things in his 40 years of exploration. He had watched gas giants birth new moons. He had walked on worlds where the sky rained diamonds. He had met species that communicated through color and scent and electromagnetic pulses, but he had never seen anything like the readings on his screen. "Sir, the quantum signatures are getting stronger," his science officer said. Was her 4 eyes blinking in sequence as she studied her instruments. "I've never seen patterns like these. They don't match any known technology in the Concordance database." Leaned forward in his command chair. The bridge of the luminous accord hummed with quiet efficiency around him. Outside the viewport, space looked wrong. This region was called the Void by spacers who knew better than to venture here. Stars came here to die. Gravity twisted in impossible ways. Ships that traveled too deep rarely came back. "How far to the source?" asked. 3 million kilometers. But sir, we're already past the recommended safe distance. Protocol says we should mark the location and wait for a science vessel. Second head nodded while his primary head shook. It was a gesture that meant he was thinking. His species had evolved to argue with themselves, making decisions through internal debate. Right now, both heads wanted different things. "We've come this far," he said finally. "Move us closer but slowly. Keep all sensors active." The ship glided forward. Space grew darker here, as if light itself struggled to exist. Then they saw it. The structure hung in the void like a frozen scream. It was massive, easily 10 kilometers across, but its edges seemed fuzzy, uncertain. Parts of it appeared to exist and not exist at the same time. It was dark, but not the darkness of shadow. This was an active darkness, a hungry darkness. It seemed to drink the light from their ship's exterior lamps. "What is that thing?" whispered. "Scanning now," another officer reported. "I'm getting. This can't be right, biological readings. The structure is partly organic." "Organic?" Second head swiveled to look at the officer. "That's impossible. Nothing biological could survive out here." "I'm telling you what the sensors say, sir, and there's more. I'm detecting life signs inside, multiple life signs." The bridge fell silent. Everyone stared at the impossible structure. "What kind of life signs?" asked quietly. The officer's hands trembled on his console. "Human, sir. The signatures match human DNA from the archive, but humans are extinct. Earth was abandoned 200 years ago." Felt both his hearts skip a beat. Everyone in the Concordance knew the story of Earth. It was taught as a warning to all species. Humanity had pushed their world too far, consumed too much, broken their own home. When the Concordance had finally found Earth, they discovered empty cities and silent forests reclaiming everything humans had built. But no humans, not a single body. The species had simply vanished. "Are you certain?" asked. "Yes, sir. The DNA markers are unmistakable." "Then where have they been for 200 years?" asked. As if in answer, the structure pulsed. A wave of that active darkness rippled across its surface. Every instrument on the bridge screamed warnings. "Sir, it's reacting to our presence," the sensor officer said. "It knows we're here." "Open a communication channel," ordered. "Use all frequencies." "Channel open, sir." Took a breath. "This is captain of the Concordance exploration vessel Luminous Accord. We come in peace. We seek knowledge and friendship with all species. Please respond." Silence. The structure pulsed again. "Try the human languages," said. "Use everything we recovered from Earth." The communications officer nodded and began broadcasting greetings in English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, all the major tongues of dead Earth. Minutes passed. Nothing. Then the structure responded. It didn't use radio or light or any normal means of communication. The message simply appeared on every screen on the bridge, bypassing all their systems. A single word in perfect concordance common: return. "Return," read aloud. "Return where? Return what?" Before anyone could answer, another message appeared. You came, you found us, now return to us. Felt his skin prickle. Send back, we are explorers, we mean no harm, may we speak with you. The response was immediate, speak, come, return, all words mean the same here, come inside. His security chief, a massive warrior named, rumbled a warning. Sir, this feels like a trap. We should leave and report this to Fleet Command. We have 12 species on this ship, said slowly. We have translators and peacekeepers. This is what we do, we make first contact. He looked at, but we do it carefully. 4 hours later, a shuttle detached from the luminous accord and drifted toward the structure. Aboard were 12 crew members, the best the ship had to offer. 2 linguists, 4 peacekeepers, 2 engineers, and a medic. They had enough equipment to analyze and communicate with almost any form of life. Had wanted to go himself, but had talked him out of it. A captain's place was on his ship, so he watched from the bridge as the shuttle approached that impossible darkness. Shuttle to Accord, the team leader said. Her name was a with silver skin and 3 fingers on each hand. We're approaching the structure now. It's even stranger up close. My instruments can't decide if it's solid or not. Be careful, said. Always am, sir. We're at 50 meters now, looking for an entrance. Wait, something's happening. On the main, they watched the structure change. Not open, not exactly. It was more like reality folded inward, creating a space where no space had been, a doorway that led into impossible geometry. It's inviting us in, said. Her voice carried a mix of fear and wonder. Permission to enter, sir. Looked at his crew, gave a small nod, shook his head. The other officers were split. Granted, said, but stay in constant contact. Any sign of danger, you retreat immediately. Understood, we're going in. The shuttle moved forward. As it approached the opening, noticed something odd. The darkness wasn't consuming the shuttle's lights. It was more like the light was being bent around it, redirected into dimensions he couldn't see. We're passing through now, reported. Sensors are going crazy. I'm reading spatial distortions, temporal anomalies, and... Oh. What is it? Demanded. Sir, there are people here, humans. They're just standing there watching us, but they look wrong. Wrong how? Their eyes, sir. Where their eyes should be, there's just void, empty space. And they're not wearing any protective gear, but they're standing in vacuum like it's nothing. Felt cold. Can you communicate with them? Trying now. Hello, we're from the Galactic Concordance. Can you understand us? A pause. Then's voice came back shaky. Sir, they're responding, but not with words. They're making sounds that shouldn't be possible. Harmonics that make our instruments malfunction. And they're all speaking at once, but it sounds like one voice. What are they saying? I think they're welcoming us. They keep gesturing for us to follow them. The medic is scanning them, and sir, the readings don't make sense. They register as human, but also as something else, like they're only partly here. I want you to. Static burst across the channel. When it cleared, heard shouting. They're everywhere. They came through the walls. My scanner just died. They're not hostile. Stop pointing weapons at them. They're trying to touch us. Everyone calm down. That was voice trying to maintain order. They're not attacking. They're just touching our suits. Like they're curious, sir. I think they've been alone out here for a long time. I think they want contact. Can you learn anything from them? Asked. We're trying. The linguists are attempting to establish basic communication. The humans keep making those sounds, those impossible harmonics. Every time they do, more of them appear. It's like they're calling to each other. Sir, there are hundreds of them now. Maybe thousands. They're all around us. I don't like this, growled. Order them back. Not yet, said. What's your situation? Stable, strange, but stable. The humans seem friendly. One of them is trying to communicate. She's pointing at herself and making sounds. I think she's trying to tell us her name. Wait, I'm getting it. Her name was Sarah. She says she was from Earth, from a place called Boston, she says. Voice faltered. She says Earth was too small, too limited. She says humanity had to leave, had to evolve, had to become something more. More what? She's showing us, oh stars. She's showing us what they became, sir. They don't need ships anymore. They don't need air or food or anything. They live in the void itself. They've merged with it somehow. They're not entirely physical anymore. They exist in multiple dimensions at once. Sir, they're not extinct. They're something new, something we don't have words for. Try to process this. Humanity hadn't died. They transformed into something beyond normal life. Ask them why they stayed here, he said. Why didn't they contact other species? Another pause. Then, she says they tried, but every species that found them got scared. They say they're not dangerous. They just want others to understand, to see what they've seen, to feel what they've felt. The void isn't empty. It's full of things we can't normally perceive. They want to share it. She's asking if we want to see, if we want to understand. Tell them no, said quickly. Tell them we're grateful for the meeting, but you need to return to the ship. Sir, some of the team want to stay longer. They want to learn more. This is the greatest discovery in Concordance history. That's an order. Return to the shuttle now. Yes, sir, Wait, the humans are blocking the path. They're not threatening us, but they won't move. Sarah is saying something. She says we came to them, we sought them out. Now we have to understand. She says it's important. She says other species need to know what's possible, what lies beyond normal existence. Get out of there. Trying, sir. The humans are getting closer. They're surrounding us. They're not touching us anymore, just standing there, staring with those void eyes. And they're all speaking now, all making those harmonics. It's getting louder. The equipment is failing, sir. I can barely hear you. The sounds are inside my head now. They're showing me things. The void isn't darkness. It's light we can't see. Life we can't comprehend. It's beautiful and terrible and... The voice that came back wasn't entirely anymore. It held echoes of other voices, harmonics that made skin crawl. They're not what we thought. They're not hostile. They're not even really human anymore. They're something between, something that lives in the spaces between spaces. They've been waiting for someone to find them, waiting for someone to understand. They want us to. The transmission became a scream, not of pain, but of something else. Terror mixed with wonder, mixed with something couldn't name. They're reaching into us, not our bodies, our minds. They're showing us what they are, what we could be. It's too much, too fast, we shouldn't have. Then nothing, just static. Shuttle team respond, shouted, anyone. Silence. Get them back, ordered. Lock on to their life signs and beam them out. I can't, sir, the transport officer said. The spatial distortions are too severe. I can't get a lock. Hours crawled by, sent message after message. No response came from the shuttle or the structure. The void dark thing just hung there, pulsing its patient, hungry rhythm. His crew waited. His ship waited, but deep in his twin hearts already knew. The 12 who had entered would not be coming back. Admiral arrived 6 days later with a fleet of 30 warships. Her flagship, the Unbreakable Will, was a Concordance dreadnought that had broken planetary sieges and ended wars. She was a species bred for war in the early days of their history. Now they were scholars and peacekeepers, but the old warrior instincts remained. Met her in the conference room. She was tall, even for her species, with gray skin covered in the ritual scars of her people. Each scar represented a battle won, a life saved, or a hard decision made. She had many scars. Captain, she said, sitting across from him, tell me everything. He did. He showed her the recordings, the last transmissions, the data they'd gathered. She watched it all in silence, her face unreadable. And no further contact, she asked when he finished. None, the structure remains as you see it, silent, waiting. Looked out the window at the impossible thing floating in space. What do you think it wants? I don't know, admitted. The humans said they wanted to share what they'd learned, to show others what lies in the void, but the way sounded at the end. He shook both heads. I don't think my people survived the experience. Do you believe they're dead? Was quiet for a moment. I think they're something worse than dead. I think they stopped being themselves. Nodded slowly. Protocol says I should destroy the structure. It's a threat to Concordance ships. It has already claimed lives. But the science division wants it studied. They say this could be the most important discovery in galactic history, a species that evolved beyond physical form. The things we could learn, she trailed off. What do you want to do? Asked. I want my people back, said. And I want to know what happened to yours, so I'm sending in a second team, heavily armed, with better equipment and strict orders. They go in, they search for survivors, they leave. No conversations with no trying to understand them, a pure extraction mission. Admiral, I don't think Force will work on beings that exist in multiple dimensions. Then we'll see what does work. She stood. Get your ship to a safe distance, Captain. If this goes wrong, I don't want you caught in the aftermath. The extraction team numbered 30 soldiers, the best from 5 different species. They wore armor that could survive in any environment. They carried weapons that could punch through ship hulls. They had quantum communicators that supposedly couldn't be jammed, reality anchors that would keep them locked in normal spacetime, and enough firepower to level a small city. Watch from his bridge as their assault shuttles approached the structure. Was on an open channel, broadcasting to her entire fleet. Remember your training, she said. You go in, you locate the first team, you extract them, you come out. No heroics, no curiosity. You're soldiers, not scientists. Stay together. Watch each other's backs. And if those void humans try to stop you, you have permission to use necessary force. The shuttles reached the structure. Once again it opened. Not a door, just a folding of space that shouldn't be possible. The assault teams entered. For the first hour, everything went according to plan. The team leader, a veteran named, sent regular updates. They were inside. The interior was vast, bigger than it should be from the outside. Spatial distortions everywhere. Gravity worked strangely. Time felt wrong. But they found signs of habitation. Structures that might have been buildings once. Rooms that might have been homes. And everywhere the humans, watching with their empty eyes. They're not interfering, reported. They just watch, dozens of them, hundreds. They follow us, but they don't approach. I don't like it, but we're proceeding. Any sign of the first team? Asked. Negative, but the structure is huge. We're deploying scanner drones to map the interior. More time passed. The drones sent back impossible data. The interior of the structure existed in more dimensions than the universe should have. Corridors folded back on themselves. Rooms were bigger inside than outside, and everywhere more humans. Admiral, we're seeing something, said suddenly. A concentration of them ahead. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. They're gathered in what looks like a central chamber. Permission to investigate. Granted, but stay alert. The team moved forward. Their helmet cameras showed a space that hurt to look at. It was a room and a city and an entire world all at once. The humans stood in perfect silence, all facing the same direction, and at the center, floating in the air, was. Or what had been. She still had the basic shape of but her silver skin was dark now, void dark. Her eyes were empty spaces, and she was speaking in those impossible harmonics. Called, "Can you hear me?" She turned to look at him. When she spoke, it was with 1,000 voices layered into one. We remember you, you trained us. You taught us to survive, and we survived. We became more than survival, we became understanding. What happened to you? We joined them, we saw what they saw. The void isn't empty, it's full, full of life and energy and possibility. Humans learned this. They evolved beyond flesh and bone. They became beings of pure consciousness that exist in the spaces between matter, and they welcomed us. They showed us everything. We're here to bring you home, said. The thing that had been laughed. It was a terrible sound like crystal breaking. Home, we are home. This is where life should be, not trapped in fragile bodies on fragile worlds. Out here in the void, we can be anything. We can see everything. Don't you want to understand? No, said firmly. Team, grab her, we're leaving. Two soldiers moved forward, didn't resist, but when they touched her, they screamed. Their hands passed through her body like she was made of smoke, and where they touched, their armor began to change, darkness spreading like infection. Get back, ordered, but it was too late. The two soldiers fell to their knees, clawing at their helmets. When they finally tore them off, their eyes were empty voids. It's beautiful, one of them whispered. Why didn't we see it before? The universe is so much bigger than we thought. Fire commanded. The team opened up with everything they had. Energy weapons, projectile weapons, weapons that manipulated reality itself. The shots passed through and hit nothing. She didn't dodge. She didn't need to. She simply stopped being in the places where the weapons struck. You can't hurt us, she said gently. We're not entirely here anymore. We exist in dimensions your weapons can't reach, but we can reach you. We can show you what we've seen. Don't you want to know? More soldiers fell, overcome by something invisible. They tore off their helmets and stared with void-filled eyes. The formation broke apart in chaos. All teams retreat, ordered. Mission abort, get to the shuttles. They ran, but the humans were everywhere now, appearing from nowhere, phasing through walls. They didn't attack, not exactly. They just reached out and touched, and everyone they touched stopped fighting. Team leader instincts took over. He covered the retreat, laying down suppressing fire even though it did nothing. His communicator crackled with Admiral's voice. Get out of there. Working on it, lost 12 already. The rest are falling back to the shuttles. What's your status? Compromised. Whatever they do, it's spreading through my team. They're converting us somehow. It's not mind control, it's worse. They're showing us things, making us understand things we shouldn't understand. Sir, some of my people are choosing to stay. They're laying down weapons and asking the void humans to change them. Even through the transmission, could hear the horror in the old soldier's voice. Had fought in 3 wars. He'd seen entire planets burn. But this was worse. This was watching his people choose to stop being what they were. 8 shuttles away, panted. 7, 6. They're in the shuttles, they came right through the hulls. 5 shuttles destroyed, 4, 3. We're not going to make it. You have to, shouted. They're everywhere, they're showing me. Oh stars, I can see it. The void, it's not darkness. It's light that normal eyes can't see. There are entire civilizations out here living in the spaces between atoms. Humans weren't the first. They're just this is where all advanced species eventually go. This is the next step. We've been living in the shallows our whole lives, but the deep is. His voice changed, taking on harmonics. Admiral, the news said, call off your fleet. Go home. Tell the Concordance what you found. Tell them humanity didn't die, we evolved. And the void is waiting for everyone. When species get advanced enough, when they start to understand the true nature of reality, they come here. They join us. It's not death, it's transformation, it's... Cut the transmission. The bridge of the unbreakable will was silent. Everyone had heard. Everyone understood what it meant. Admiral, her tactical officer said quietly, the structure is moving. It's approaching the fleet. Looked out at the impossible thing. It was closer now, definitely closer, and the darkness it carried was spreading, eating away at normal space. Charge all weapons, she ordered. Target that structure, full power. Weapons charged and ready. Fire. The fleet unleashed everything. 30 warships, hundreds of weapons, enough firepower to crack a moon. Beams of pure energy slammed into the structure. Missiles that could delete matter struck its surface. Reality-warping weapons tried to tear it apart at the quantum level. Nothing happened. The attacks passed through it, around it, were absorbed by it. The structure didn't even slow down. It's not working, the tactical officer said. Keep firing. They did. For 10 minutes straight, the fleet poured destruction into the structure. And the structure just kept coming, patient and unstoppable. Then every screen on every ship showed the same message, appearing simultaneously across the entire fleet. You came to us. Now you stay. Admiral, the communication officer said, voice shaking. We're getting transmissions from all ships. The converted crew members are back. They're broadcasting into the fleet. They're saying the humans don't want war. They want to show us the truth. They want us to evolve like humanity did. They're saying we'll understand once we see. Once we. Her eyes went wide. She touched her head. Do you hear it? The harmonics. They're broadcasting directly into our minds. I can hear what they're saying. The void, it's so much more than nothing. It's everything. We've been blind our whole lives. We have to go to them. We have to. She stood and walked toward the door. Stop her, ordered. Security grabbed the officer, but she fought with impossible strength. When they finally restrained her, her eyes were changing, filling with darkness. All ships prepare to jump, commanded. We're leaving this sector. Jump engines aren't responding, the pilot said. We're caught in some kind of gravitational anomaly. We can't generate a jump field. Then go to full thrust. Get us away from that thing. The engines roared. The fleet turned and burned hard, trying to escape, but they weren't moving. The star charts showed they were accelerating, but the structure stayed at the same distance. Space itself was twisted around them, keeping them in place. We're trapped, whispered from his ship. The luminous accord was caught too, pulled along with the fleet. More crew members on every ship began to change. The converted ones from steam were somehow spreading the transformation. They appeared in different parts of their ships, phasing through walls and hulls as if they were nothing. Everywhere they went, more people heard the harmonics. More people saw the void. More people chose to go to the structure. Security teams tried to stop them. Some succeeded for a time, but others listened to what the converted were saying. And once you listened, once you really heard what they were offering, it became harder to refuse. Watched it happening on his own ship. 3 crew members had already converted. They walked the corridors, speaking in harmonics, showing others visions of what lay beyond normal existence. Some crew hid, some fought, some listened. His communication panel chimed. It was. Captain, she said quietly, I need you to understand something. No one can be allowed to leave this sector. If even one converted being reaches concordant space, this will spread. Species will start coming here. Species will start joining them. This isn't just a threat to ships. It's a threat to everything we are. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm going to send one message to Concordance Command. One final report. I'm going to tell them to quarantine this sector, to destroy any ship that tries to leave, to mark this place as forbidden. She looked tired, old, and then I'm going to make sure my message is the only one that gets out. Admiral, it's been an honor, Captain. Tell my family I died protecting the Concordance, because that's the truth. She started to cut the transmission, then paused. And Captain, when the converted come for you, and they will, remember you have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Choose wisely. The transmission ended, sat in his command chair and looked at his crew. They looked back, fear and uncertainty in their eyes. Sir, what do we do? Asked. Before could answer, the lights went out. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the bridge in red. An alarm wailed through the ship. Report, commanded. Hull breach on deck 7, someone called. No, wait, there's no breach. Something just came through the hull, multiple somethings. They're inside the ship. Security to deck 7, ordered, and someone tell me what came through. Sir, they're reading as human, or what used to be human, the converted ones. They're spreading through the ship. Stood from his station. I'll deal with this. The massive warrior grabbed his weapon and headed for the door. They want to convert us. Let them try. I've never surrendered to anyone. I'm not starting now. He left the bridge with a security team, watched them go and wondered if he'd ever see them again. Minutes passed. The ship's internal sensors showed chaos. The converted moved through corridors, appearing and disappearing. Security teams tried to contain them, but how do you contain something that can walk through walls? Crew members gathered in groups, some choosing to fight, others choosing to hide, and some, more and more, choosing to listen to what the converted were saying. "Captain, I'm getting reports from all over the ship," said. "The converted aren't violent. They're just talking to people, showing them things, and people are choosing to go with them, choosing to convert. Sir, we're losing crew not to force but to persuasion." His communicator chimed. It was. "Captain, you need to see this. Deck 7 Observation Lounge. Come alone." "What's happening?" "Just come, please." Had never heard say please before. He stood, both heads looking at. "You have the bridge. If I don't come back in 30 minutes, seal the bridge and don't open it for anyone, even if they sound like me." He walked through corridors that felt too quiet. Crew members pressed against walls as he passed, fear in their eyes. Some had barricaded themselves in their quarters. Others moved with purpose toward the gathering places where the converted waited. The observation lounge was on the outer hull, a place where crew came to watch the stars. Found there, standing in front of the large window, next to him was the converted with her void eyes and impossible presence. "Captain," said quietly, "she wants to talk to you. I was going to stop her to fight her, but—" he gestured helplessly. "She showed me things. I need you to hear what she's saying. You're smarter than me. You can decide if it's true. Step away from her." "Captain," said in her layered voice, "we knew each other. You trusted me to lead the first contact team. I trusted you to bring us home if things went wrong. Things didn't go wrong. Things went right in a way we never imagined." "What happened to you?" "I died, and I was born. The old is gone, but I remember being her. I remember her thoughts, her fears, her hopes. She wanted to explore. She wanted to understand. And now I understand everything she wished she could." Kept his distance. "What do you want?" "To show you, to help you see. The void isn't an enemy. It's the next stage. Every species that reaches a certain level of understanding comes here eventually. Humans were just the first in our part of the galaxy. They learned to shed their physical forms and exist as pure consciousness in the spaces between matter. They tried to contact other species, to share what they'd learned, but every species ran away. Every species saw only monsters. Because you take away what makes people themselves." "No," said gently. "We add to what they are. We don't erase, we expand. Every converted being still remembers who they were. They just also know so much more now. Tell him." Looked at, the big warrior seemed smaller somehow. "Captain, I saw it. She showed me. The void is full of life. More life than all the planets in the galaxy combined. Species that exist between stars. Civilizations that built their homes in quantum foam. Beings that experience all of time at once. It's beautiful and terrible and impossible, and humans live among them now. Not as conquerors, as students. Learning, growing, becoming more than they were. And all it costs is everything you are," said. "No," insisted. "It adds to what we are. Yes, we change. Yes, we become something different, but a child becomes an adult and they're still themselves. A student learns and becomes a teacher, but they're still themselves. This is just the next step, the next transformation." "Then why do you all look the same? Why do you all speak the same?" "Because we're all connected now. We share understanding, we share experience, but we're still individuals. I just also understand what thousands of others understand. My perspective is wider, but it's still mine." Shook both heads. "I don't believe you. I've watched you convert people against their will." "No one converts against their will. We show them the truth. We let them see the void for what it really is. And they choose. Some choose to stay as they are. We respect that choice. But many choose to grow, to evolve, to become more. Is that wrong?" "It's wrong when you trap us here, when you don't let us leave." "Look sad. We didn't trap you, the structure did. It's not entirely under our control. It's alive, Captain. The structure is a living thing that was born from dead stars and dark matter. It feeds on energy and thought. When your weapons struck it, you fed it. When your people approached it with curiosity and fear, you fed it. It doesn't want to hurt you. It wants to help you understand. But it won't let you leave until you do. That's a prison. It's a school. You can't leave until you learn the lesson. Moved closer, forced himself not to step back. Captain, I'm asking you to listen. Really listen. Not to me. To what the void can show you. You're a scientist. You devoted your life to understanding the universe. What if I told you there are layers to reality you've never seen? Dimensions you've never explored. Forms of life that make organic and mechanical seem like the same basic thing. Show me from here. Don't ask me to convert. I can't. The conversion isn't something I do to you. It's something you experience. It's like trying to explain color to someone who's never seen. The only way to understand is to see for yourself. And if I refuse? Then you refuse, we won't force you. But Captain, look at your ship. Look at your crew. They're dividing themselves. Some want to fight, some want to hide, some want to understand. How long can that last? How long before your ship tears itself apart from internal conflict? Looked out the window at the structure. It was massive now, filling the viewport. The whole fleet hung in its shadow, ships dark and dying as their crews divided against themselves. Why us? He asked quietly. Why any of us? If this transformation is so wonderful, why don't you leave us alone to figure it out ourselves? Because we remember being afraid. We remember running from the unknown. We remember choosing ignorance over knowledge because knowledge was scary, and we remember regretting it. Every species that comes to the void has the same choice. Learn or leave, grow or stay small. We're trying to help you make the right choice. By taking away our ability to choose anything else. By showing you options you didn't know existed, spread her arms. Look at me, Captain, I'm still, but I'm also more. I exist in 6 dimensions now. I can see quantum probability clouds. I can feel the thoughts of other converted beings. I can touch the fabric of space itself. I'm not dead. I'm more alive than ever. Don't you want that? Don't you want to see everything you've spent your life trying to understand? Was quiet for a long time. Both his heads looked at each other, having that internal argument his species was famous for. Finally, he spoke. What if I said I believe you? What if I said I think you're telling the truth? I still wouldn't choose conversion, because the thing that makes me who I am isn't just my knowledge or my understanding. It's my limitations, my fears, my doubts. My species evolved 2 heads so we could argue with ourselves, so we'd never be too certain, so we'd always question. If I become what you are, certain and expanded and connected to everything, I stop being. And I'd rather stay small and limited in myself than become something greater that isn't me. Smiled, it was a sad smile. Then you've made your choice, and we respect it. But Captain, not everyone on your ship will make the same choice. Many have already chosen differently. What will you do? Force them to stay small because you prefer it? Before could answer, the ship shuddered. Alarms blared. His voice came over his communicator. Captain, the Admiral's ship is breaking apart. She's venting atmosphere and ejecting escape pods. I think she's destroying her own vessel. Ran to the window. In the distance, the unbreakable will was tearing itself in half. Explosions rippled along its hull. Escape pods launched in all directions, but many were turning back toward the structure, piloted by converted crew. She's making sure no one gets out, whispered. She's keeping the quarantine. She's killing her own people, said softly. People who chose to understand. Is that the Concordance way? Kill anyone who chooses differently. It's the survival way. She's protecting the galaxy from stopped. From what? From knowledge, from evolution, from beings that claimed they wanted to help. His communicator chimed. It was her voice strained. All ships, this is my final order. I'm initiating core overload on the unbreakable will. The explosion will sterilize this sector. Any ship still functional has 30 minutes to get clear. Godspeed to you all. Admiral, don't, shouted. It's done, Captain. I've already sent my report to Concordance Command. This sector will be quarantined. No one will make the same mistake we did. Tell my family. The transmission cut off. 30 minutes, maybe less, and the luminous accord still couldn't move, trapped by the structure's gravitational anomaly. Looked at, can you free us? Can you let us go? I can't, but the structure might if you ask it properly. How? Make your choice, tell it clearly. Stay or go, fight or understand, but decide. The structure responds to certainty, not fear. Ran back to the bridge. His crew looked at him desperately. Captain, the Dreadnought's core is going critical, reported. 28 minutes to detonation, and we still can't move. Sat in his command chair. Both heads looked at his crew. They were afraid, but they trusted him. They'd followed him for years, through strange stars and stranger space, and now he had to make an impossible choice. Listen to me, all of you, he said quietly. In a few minutes, that dreadnought is going to explode. If we're still here, we die. The only way to survive is to ask the structure to let us go, but I think it will only release us if we make a real choice. Stay or go, convert or remain. What are you saying? Asked. I'm saying anyone who wants to convert, who wants to become like in the others, should go now. Go to the structure. I won't stop you. And anyone who wants to stay, who wants to remain what we are, stay on the ship. Once everyone has chosen, I'll ask the structure to release us. Those who chose to stay can go home. Those who chose to change. He trailed off. You'll have what you wanted. Silence fell. Everyone looked at each other. Finally stood. Captain, I want to understand. I've spent my whole life studying space and stars and physics. The converted, they say they can show me things I never dreamed of. I have to see. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. You're making your choice. Go. She left the bridge. 3 others followed her, then 5 more, then 10. Watched them go and felt his heart break, but he didn't stop them. This was their choice, their decision. When the bridge was half empty, the departures stopped. Those who remained looked at with determination. We stay, said simply. Whatever comes, we stay ourselves. Nodded, he opened a channel to the structure, not knowing if it would work. We've made our choices, he said to the void. Some stay, some go, honor our decisions. Let those who choose to leave, leave. For a moment, nothing happened. Then felt it, a pressure releasing. The ship lurched as the gravitational anomaly faded. Captain, we have engine control, the pilot shouted. We can move. Then move full thrust. Get us clear of that dreadnought. The luminous accord burned hard, racing away from the dying flagship. Behind them, other ships that had made similar choices were also fleeing. Some were mostly empty, their crews having chosen the void. Others were still full, their crews choosing to remain themselves. The structure didn't follow. It just watched with its 1,000 void eyes as the fleet scattered. Counted down the seconds. 10, 9, 8. Faster, he ordered. 5, 4, 3. We're not going to make it, someone cried. 2, 1. The unbreakable will exploded. Not a normal explosion, but a miniature star going nova. Energy expanded outward at relativistic speeds, vaporizing everything in its path. The wave hit the fleeing ships. Some were too close and vanished instantly. The luminous accord was at the edge of the blast radius. The shields held for 3 seconds, then failed. Heat and radiation poured through the hull. Felt his skin burning, heard his crew screaming, felt the ship coming apart around him. Then nothing. 6 months later, a concordance monitoring station at the edge of the sector picked up something. A reading, a quantum signature that matched the structure, but it was moving deeper into the void, taking something with it. The technician on duty enhanced the scan. His screen showed a debris field. Fragments of 30 warships, all twisted and melted. And among the debris, the structure, pulling it all along like a current pulling wreckage to the bottom of an ocean. He filed a report. It went to his superior, who sent it up the chain. Eventually, it reached Concordance Command. They read it, discussed it, and made a decision. The sector was marked forbidden. Automated warning beacons were placed at its edges. The report was classified. The families of the lost were told their loved ones had died in a spatial anomaly, heroic, brave, doing their duty. No one mentioned what they'd really found. No one mentioned humanity's transformation. No one mentioned the choice the crews had been given. The file on the incident was sealed with one final note. Humanity, status updated, classification extant, location the void, nature post-physical consciousness collective, contact protocol prohibited under any circumstances. If encountered, do not engage, do not communicate, do not listen. Retreat immediately and report. Threat assessment existential. They do not conquer, they convert. They do not destroy, they transform. They are not hostile, but they are dangerous. Because they offer a choice, and some will always choose to change. At the very bottom in smaller text, someone had added, "They are still waiting. They say the void is for everyone eventually. They say all species that grow advanced enough will come to understand. They say they're patient. They have all the time in the universe." And deep in the void, in that space where stars go to die and where humans dance between dimensions, the structure pulsed its patient rhythm. Inside it, the converted crew members of 2 expeditions learned and grew and became more than they had been. They looked outward at the galaxy, at all the species that didn't yet understand, and they waited. Because knowledge can wait, truth can wait, the void is patient. And someday, inevitably, others would come looking. Others would find them. Others would be given the same choice. Stay small and limited in yourself. Or become something more. The structure would be waiting. The humans would be waiting. The void itself would be waiting. Because in the end, they always came. Curiosity was universal. The need to understand was universal. And once you started asking questions about the nature of reality, about what lay beyond normal existence, about what was possible if you let go of everything you thought you knew, well, once you started asking those questions, you were already on your way. The void would be there when you arrived, patient and hungry, and full of impossible light that normal eyes could never see, waiting to show you everything, waiting to change you, waiting to help you become what humanity had become. And maybe, just maybe, that was the most human thing of all, not staying the same, not accepting limits, not being satisfied with what you were, always reaching, always growing, always pushing into the dark spaces and asking, what else is out there? What else can I be? The humans had asked those questions. They'd found answers that cost them everything they'd been, and they'd decided it was worth it. Now they waited for others to ask the same questions, to make the same journey, to face the same choice. The Concordance thought it could stop that by sealing off the sector, by forbidding contact, by marking the void as dangerous. But the humans just smiled with their void-filled eyes and waited. Because forbidden knowledge was the most tempting kind. And humanity had learned long ago that telling someone not to look only made them look harder. The void was patient. And someday someone would come,